And once you become a Norwegian's friend, once you have their trust, there's no holding back. They are loyal and they will do anything for you. So it's something really powerful. There's only one language, Norwegian, but it seems like there's lots of different languages, especially when you first get there, because they have different dialects. And they can be hard to understand in the beginning. Once you hear somebody speak a different dialect, instantly you remember the place where you were at, you remember the people, and it's just a sense of love that you have. I personally just learned the basic language, the main language that they speak everywhere in all of Norway, which is called bokmål, and that will get you pretty far. I mean, obviously everybody understands it. The dialects can be really different from each other. In some cities, they will scar their R's really hard, so it sounds more rough, more maybe like German sounding. In Oslo, they speak their tonefall, or like the sing song of the language is really colorful. It's how do I explain that? It's really they inflect their voices a lot when they speak, and I really liked that. In Trondheim, it sounds like Chinese, just so crazy and different. Yeah, those are all the main ones that I remember, but dialects are really fun. Some traditional dishes in Norway are, the most classic dish that you'll eat is called kjøttkaker. Sounds a little bit scary, sounds really scary actually, but it's super good. And it's just, it's like meatballs, and sometimes they'll have like a brown sauce on it. They're really good. You'll eat that everywhere. Over all of Norway, they have kjøttkaker. And along with that, they'll serve potatoes, just the little ones that they've peeled and boiled. Sometimes they'll also have like different vegetables. There was this one, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a red, maybe it's like a radish. I don't remember. It's really good. All of the food is very, it's really good. It's not too different than what we eat here. Another really famous dish is called, that they eat at Christmas, is called pinnekjøtt, which is lamb that they've cooked. I think they've soaked it in like like a really salty sauce, and it's so delicious. It's just, how do I explain it? You just cut it off of the bone. And along with that, they'll usually have the classic potatoes and some other vegetables. One thing that I loved the most was the salmon. Their fish is so good. I feel like in America it tastes like it's been sitting there for weeks, but in Norway it's just fresh and so good. And I would just buy the frozen packages of salmon and cook that in the oven for like 20 minutes, and it's so good. I didn't even have to put anything on it. Everything is really fresh. And when a Norwegian prepares you a meal, they usually spend a lot of time. They take great pride in eating and their food. It's very traditional. I feel like they've been eating the same things for like years and years, just since the beginning of Norway, I feel like. But it's so classic and so good. They don't use many spices. It's more simple, but I learned to really enjoy it and appreciate the simplicity of their meals. The desserts are great as well. I'm trying to think. Their ice cream is so good. It's like 10 times creamier, and it tastes so much better than what we have here. They serve a lot of puddings, and like, yeah, they have like this rice pudding with the berry sauce that they serve a lot. So a lot of their desserts are more like soft, and they have a lot less sugar than we have in America, which I grew to really love. It's really delicious. Norwegians are very polite. I think the classic rules apply, like no putting your elbows on the table, you know, just be polite. Usually, or always, Norwegians always take seconds. So if you get your first serving, make sure it's not too big so you can take another. They use their utensils differently. I think in America, we just kind of scoop everything and just shovel it in our mouths, but they're very precise and they hold the fork with the left hand. This might be just kind of the older generation, but I learned to do it because it's really respectful. With your left hand, you hold the fork, and with your right hand, and you hold the fork down, and with your right hand, you cut the meat or whatever you're eating. And then so often they keep the fork like upside down, and they would pile, like if you have like a sauce, or sometimes they'll serve like these like smashed peas, they'll scoop it on top of the meat or whatever you've cut, so it's like all in a pile, and you have to carefully put it in your mouth. And at first I thought it was kind of weird, but all like older Norwegians especially, you'll see them do that. So that's something kind of unique, kind of different, but they're very polite when using their utensils. They don't scoop anything around. Definitely don't use their fingers. So I remember they have this stuff called soft, which is like, it's like Kool-Aid, but it's in liquid form, and you add a little bit to a bunch of water. And I remember there's this watermelon flavor, which is really, really good. And I was drinking it, and I drank like so much. I don't know how much I was drinking, but it was so good. So I just kept drinking it, and it didn't last for very long. I threw up later. But so don't drink too much soft. As far as anything else, they have kebab stands everywhere. And some of them are really good, and some of them are really bad, and they'll make you feel really sick. A kebab is like, they call it that because of the meat that they have, which is like, so it's not Norwegian. It's from like, it's Turkish. And it's like this huge thing of meat, which looks so disgusting. And it's on like a pole, and it's like turning around and cooking, and it's just like all this meat hanging down. But they cut off a slice of it, and they'll put it in like a pita wrap, or they put it in like different types of things, and they'll put like vegetables and sauce and lettuce, wrap it all up, and you just eat it like that. And it's kind of like street food. It's really good, but it can also make you really sick, so you have to be careful where you get your kebab from. When I think of Norwegians, I think of strength and simplicity. They're clean, and they do have good hearts. Sometimes I felt like, as opposed to an American, they weren't as open to new ideas, not as open to religion. They think very logically, which means a lot of them believe in logical explanations, scientific explanations of things. If you ask them what they believe in, a lot of them will say they believe in themselves, which can be a really good thing, because Norwegians do a lot of great things. If there's trash on the road, they pick it up. If somebody needs help, they'll do it. They believe in themselves. And sometimes that answer would frustrate me so much. A lot of them are atheists. They just believe that, we are here because of a scientific explanation. It's not because of a divine creator or anything. There are, however, some Christians, some people who do believe. I feel like more live in the South for some reason. I don't know if that's the influence from different countries. But overall, most people that I talk to, their answer would be they believe in themselves and they didn't believe in God. Norwegians have a lot of traditions, way more than Americans do. Their biggest celebration is the 17th of May, which is their Independence Day, and they go all out. It's the craziest thing you'll ever see. I remember walking out of my apartment and seeing everybody wearing these dresses and like these crazy outfits. They're called bunads, and it's like an authentic looking dress, and it just looks, and there's no cars driving either, so you look like you were in a time machine and you went back like, I don't know how long, like many centuries, I don't know. So that's their biggest celebration. And Christmas they celebrate for like the whole month. Even I feel like they celebrate even like before and after. It's so like intricate that to be honest, I don't remember all of it. But I remember like something about each day leading up to Christmas. They would do something special. It all meant something. And then Christmas itself lasts a few days. And Santa Claus, I'm trying to remember right. I had one Christmas there. Santa Claus comes, I think he comes on Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day is when you really celebrate. And it's just so much fun. They really get into it and they enjoy celebrating. They take the time to do things well. It's very well planned. And although it's not always focused on Jesus Christ or the Savior, there's still a feeling of unity, and it was just a happy, good thing. Easter was also another big holiday for Norwegians, which is interesting because, once again, not very many people believe in Jesus Christ. But they would often travel during Easter. They love to be gone from Norway. They have the means to travel, and so often people would travel to Spain or anywhere in Europe for like a month. They'll be gone for so long. They really love their holidays, and I loved experiencing it as well. Some not to do's in Norway. I think they can be tweaked a little bit, obviously, in certain situations, but normally, yeah, when you talk to somebody on the street, you don't ask them super personal questions right off the bat. When handling with Norwegians, it's very important to be respectful. I remember sitting next to a woman on a train, and she was wearing some really nice boots. A lot of Norwegians are very well dressed. I felt so often that I was walking inside of a magazine. Everybody is just fantastic. But I remember sitting next to this woman wearing these really nice pair of boots, and I complimented her and I said, "I really like your boots. Like, where did you get those?" And I remember so clearly the woman looking over at me and just saying, "I don't want to talk to you." And that's all she said to me. And it was funny, but it just kind of goes to show that they're very reserved and different, but they are friendly. You just have to be respectful. And if somebody says that they don't want to talk to you, then say that's okay and be polite and kind. A lot of times on buses, if somebody is sitting alone, there'll be two seats next to each other, and if somebody is sitting alone in one of the rows and like the rest of the bus is open, if you went and sat right next to them, they would be fairly offended. So the best thing that I would try to do is sit close enough where you can talk to them and have a conversation, because obviously you need to talk to everybody, but don't intrude or be overbearing. But just politeness overall, I think, is really important with Norwegians. The weather in Norway is relatively cold for a lot of the year, depending on where you live. If you're in the north, like my first area was Trondheim, if you're living up there, it can get really cold and icy during the winters. With learning Norwegian, a huge thing is the pronunciation of the vowels and the words. I think the reason at the beginning the reason they knew so quickly that I was American because I wasn't pronouncing things correctly. I remember every day practicing the vowels over and over and over again, just the same thing. And I thought it was pointless, but now I see how beneficial it is to really pay attention to the small details. There are a few grammatical differences as well that are different. They're different than English, but they're easy to learn. But it just takes repetition, patience, and a lot of faith that you can do it. But a huge thing is to speak up and not be afraid to make mistakes, because if you don't speak, then you will never learn Norwegian. A lot of the people that we taught in Norway were immigrants. They come from all over. Norway is just a perfect place for them to go because the government offers so much for people who really do need help. There were a lot of Muslims that we talked to. There were a lot of Filipinos as well. I can't tell you how many Filipino girls I taught who were there to be like a nanny. They do that a lot. They come to Norway, are a nanny for a certain period of time, And they get paid so well that they're able to provide for their families in other countries. There are also a lot of Africans, surprisingly. You think in Norway everybody's going to have blonde hair and blue eyes and they're all going to be looking the same, but there's so many different demographics, people who live there. Det har vært en stund siden jeg har vært mitt vitnesbyrd i norsk, men jeg vet at Gud lever. Han elsker oss. Han vil at vi skal være lykkelige. Og han har en veldig stor plan hvor vi kan alle lykkes. Jeg vet at det er veldig viktig å ha misjonærer rundt hele verden, særlig i Norge. Jeg vet at nordmenn er veldig gode folk, og når de blir medlemmer i kirken, så skal kirken bli mye sterkere, fordi nordmenn er sterke. Jeg vet at Josef Smith er en profet. Jeg vet at han så Gud og Jesus Kristus. Og gjennom han ble evangeliet gjenopprettet til jorden. Og det er jeg ekstremt takknemlig for. Jeg vet at vi har en levende profet i dag, Thomas S. Manson. Og han er en veldig god mann. Han jobber hardt og har et godt hjerte. Jeg vet at prestedømmet, det er veldig kraftig. Det er det viktigste prinsipp i evangeliet. Som gjør alt til å stemme. Det er den eneste vei at vi kan ha hele evangeliet på jorden nå. Jeg vet at Jesus Kristus, han er verdens frelser og forløser, og at gjennom ham vi kan overvinne alle våre vanskeligheter. Jeg vet at han er vår bror, at han kjenner oss og hvordan vi følger. Og jeg sier dette i Jesu Kristi navn. Amen.